Hi everyone, my name's PK and here I have Asim Salahuddin. He is based in Sydney. He's an ICT engineer and I'm very proud to call him a client of the Property Investment Accelerator. He's bought two properties in 6 months and in this episode, we'll go through how he did that because one of them was subdividable. He bought off market, he's bought in WA, he's bought in Queensland without leaving basically his house. It is a lot to learn from the mindset of people like Asim. And so we're going to deep dive and go through various questions so that you all can learn, be inspired, and be educated to also replicate his success. And he's not stopping here. He's going to carry on. We might even go into things like his entity structures, borrowing capacity, different things like that. But let's see how it goes. Thank you so much, Asim, for making time. You're like in on holidays in Japan, so I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Preeti, for having me. And just before we kick off, I'd like to say something. I'd like to express my gratitude and say thank you for all your contribution to this community. You really helped me, and I believe you helped a lot of people, whether they are your clients or not. So we have a phrase in Arabic that says, "Who doesn't thank people doesn't thank God." And for that, I'd like to thank you. And also, I was just talking to one of my friends. He also follow your content. He's not one of your clients, but he does follow your free material. And I was telling him, if we only had 10 PKs in the Australian market, if we had a PK in the say shares market, if we had a PK in the business market, if we had a PK in I don't know soft skills or fitness market, I think Australians will thrive much better. So again, thank you so much for contribution.
Oh, that's very nice of you. I appreciate the sentiment. I think probably there are people that are experts in these various fields. I mean, I don't know. Oftentimes people ask me like what's the equivalent of a PK course or mentorship for the stock market or other things. Honestly, I don't know, but I'm sure there are amazing people out there. And yeah, I mean, yeah, but thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate it. And also I must say it's a real pleasure to help people who have a lot of gratitude and a lot of humility and generally family orientated people doing this for the right reasons with the right ethics with the right perseverance and character. And so I think it flows both ways. The energy and the sentiment flows both ways.
Welcome to the Oz Property Investment Mastery Podcast. My name's PK and I help busy people build passive income by buying top 5% growth and cash flow property and build a portfolio using data without wasting months doing research, spending weekends at inspection or catching flights, or dropping $10,000 to $20,000 on buyer's agents every single time. So if you're confused, lack confidence, and just overwhelmed with all the information and marketing misinformation available online and don't know where to start, then this show is for you.
Let's start from the start. Like, what's your background? What's been your property journey before you did the course?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I'll take you one step back. Just when I came to Australia, I think this way will give you and your audience a better picture of my journey and how I ended up in the investment property. So basically, I came to Australia late 2017, and like any new immigrant, my focus was on how to settle in the country. And let me tell you, Peter, it wasn't as easy as I thought. It was pretty hard to start a new life. And my focus was how to get back into my profession because I graduated in electrical and electronics engineering. And I worked before I come to Australia, I worked 2 years, and I thought when I come to Australia, I'll have the opportunity to just get back into my profession and work from there. But then when I came here, I realized, okay, it's not that easy. Australian companies only they require local experience, which I don't have it. So it was really hard for me to get into my workforce. So I had to work my way around it, and I had to survive because life is very expensive in Australia. So I worked many different jobs, and I did jobs that I never ever thought I would do in Australia. I did hospitality jobs, I did factory jobs, construction. I even did the farming. I did farming in a small town in regional Queensland called Condamine. I don't know if you've heard of it,
Don't
PK.
think I have, no.
No, it's a very small town inland of west of Brisbane, and I hope one day the data leads to it because I'd like to buy a property there one day. But but yeah, that was my experience when I came to Australia at first. So I'm very glad now when I see what I did in the past and where I am today. Um, Fast forward, then I started to settle in Australia. I got into my professional finally. I started to save some money, and then COVID hits, and that's when I'm still single at that point, and I had a lot of free time, and I had some savings, like I mentioned. So I started to realize, okay, my saving is not enough. I need to do something else. I lived most of my life in Saudi Arabia, and we don't have something like my income is really my income. Like I get the whole cake. I don't have something to share like 30% or 40% like the Australia the tax, right? So when I came here, I wasn't really aware of it, and I didn't know how much impact it will have on me. So because before I come to Australia in Saudi, you can actually have a salary job and you can live somehow a really nice lifestyle. So I thought somehow it would be the same here, but then I was surprised that no, like a 9 to 5 full-time job here is not really enough. You need to do something more. So that's when I realized that I have to do something with my saving. So yeah, like many people in COVID, I got hooked into the crypto, and I think it was the peak of the crypto that time. Like everyone was talking about it. I had a lot of videos that bros that they get rich in 1 or 2 years. So I really got hooked into it, and then I invested heavily in the crypto. Actually, I invested all my money in the crypto, and with that money, I could have easily get a deposit in my first home. But I chose crypto that time because I really wanted to get rich quickly. I thought it was gonna be true. But anyway, like now until today, PK, I have not recovered from that investment. It's still a negative. And to be honest, even if I become a multi-millionaire from that, let's just say I am actually rich from it, I actually didn't learn anything from the crypto. Even though I spent a lot of time, as much as I did in the real estate, I spent time to learn about crypto. I watched videos, I read articles, I educated myself there, but I didn't get any real value there. I couldn't feel it. It was all abstract. It was grayish. So yeah, even if I got rich, I think I would have spent that money in 1 or 2 years. So
Right.
anyway, that was the COVID time, and then fast forward in 2023, that when I started to get interest in the real estate, and at first I wanted just to buy a house. Really, that's all I wanted. I just want to buy a house to live in it, and then like everything else, before I start to pay something, I have to search about it. So I started to research, educate myself in the real estate, and I read books, and then I started to see a lot of free material, and that's when I found your material. And let me tell you, it really helped me, PT, especially at the start. Like I had to understand the fundamentals of it, and I got really hooked into it quick because it made a lot of sense. And when I was watching these videos, it I consumed a lot of them, and it just resonated a lot with my circumstances. So I felt okay. I have the chance to get into this market and get myself somewhere that I can be comfortable in. I don't know, 10, 15 years. I mean, financially. So yeah, that's when I decided to enroll in your course, and let me tell you, PK, it was really one of my best investments, hands down.
I'm very happy
That
to.
is my journey.
Yeah, it's an amazing journey, and actually, it's not too, I would say, uncommon because there's, I think in the last 5 years, maybe 10 years, I'm not a crypto expert by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot of people, they get hooked. It's easy to get hooked into like the latest thing. And I'm not saying that crypto is the latest thing in insofar as it comes and goes. I think the principle of decentralized exchanges and crypto is here for the long term, but it's made a lot of people a lot of money. Well, should say it's made some people a lot of money, and it's
Some
made most people nothing, if not negative. It's very difficult to understand. You mentioned you tried to learn it, and I think people then revert to something that has, you know, lasted the test of time for decades and decades and centuries and centuries. So it's a not an uncommon journey, I would say, but it's a kind of very fascinating to understand how the human mind works because we're all drawn to like, okay, let's just get rich quick. This must be it. I'm missing out. All my friends or colleagues or people online, they seem to be making money. I need to have some skin in the game. So it's like a very natural human phenomenon, that sometimes the best lessons are the ones hardest learned. So it sounds like
correct.
maybe that's the case with you, but it's at the same time, I think created some tenacity and some perseverance on the real estate side for you because you've been there, you've experienced that, and now you've seen the light, so to speak. You've seen a more positive alternative for your risk appetite. So I think
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Yeah, I don't have anything against crypto. I'm still I have some crypto. I didn't sell them, so technically I haven't lost anything. But I wouldn't invest at least at this time because when I saw the real estate, I could feel the when I invest in something, when I invest in a house, when I do anything, I can feel it. But in the crypto world, it's different. I couldn't see anything really. It's just bunch of people who are talking in the YouTube videos, and then they just boom a currency or say something about it, and I just have to believe them. That's really was how it was in crypto. So yeah,
Right, right, right. Makes sense. Makes sense. And I completely resonate with that point you made as well around in Australia, unfortunately, especially if you're in Sydney and to some extent Melbourne, a single income 9 to 5. I mean, everyone's different. Everyone has their own lifestyle preferences, but for a lot of people these days, it's not enough. And we're actually seeing, I think the latest statistics was that almost 17% of people in Sydney and Melbourne, if not broader Australia, have a second job. So everyone's trying to complement their main source of income because chances are that main source of income isn't enough with the way cost of living and inflation is going. And so that was also a spark for you to explore real estate. And I want to fast forward ahead. You bought this first property. I'm going to read it out. In regional Queensland, you bought it for 487,000. It was valued at about 514,000, if I'm not mistaken. The rent is 570. It was off market. It's a 4 bedroom, 2 bath, two garage. So like, if you can distill maybe like your three biggest learnings or three biggest pieces of advice from going from where you were, that you had no real estate experience in Australia, and then not only did you buy interstate, but you bought something off market. Of course, you didn't use a buyer's agent, you did this all yourself, and something that you basically built instant equity on. That's from nothing to that is a big sort of leap. What are like the three biggest planks in the bridge that allowed you to cross over that sort of river or that chasm?
Mm. I think one of the biggest change for me was the mindset. Um, and kudos to your course. I actually learned a lot, not just about investment. It's also about my mindset shift and how I have to do everything by myself. And you always say, no one take care of your money as much as you do, and that's really true. Because I was so close to get into a buy agent, and then I went to them, and I told them my scenario, my situation, and I felt I'm just another number. Maybe I didn't go to the best buy agency. Of course, there's a good one and the bad one, but I realized, okay, really, I have to do it myself. And so yeah, mind when the mindset was there, the right mindset, and then everything else came with it. You know, the consistency, that was a really key for me, because I struggled with building relationships with a sales agent. It wasn't an easy exercise for me. I think two reasons is because first, I'm not really a social person, and second, the language, English is not my first language, so it's not easy just to get onto a phone call with someone, and from the first few minutes you become friends with, you know. So I did have a challenge on building those relationships, but because I was consistent, I had to call them every week, and then some of them, of course, they didn't remember me, but some of them actually did, because I'm just keeping all of them, messaging them, and then they realize, okay, this guy is serious, and that's when I got my off market property. One guy, he knew how serious I was, and then he just called me, and he told me, look, there's this property. It's still off market. We needed ASAP to go. Like the seller is in a hurry, so that's what I did. I got the property. I saw it. I liked it. It ticked all my criteria, and then I made my offer, and yeah, it got accepted. So
Right,
yeah.
right. Well, what advice could you give perhaps to someone who's also trying to get an off-market property by themselves, and they're also maybe English isn't their first language, maybe they're a little bit shy or nervous or something like that. Now that you've done it, maybe another way to ask this question is what advice would you give to yourself when you were just starting out, now that you've been successful?
Um, I would say that uh, understand that you will find obstacles and you might get overwhelmed sometimes, but the if you stop, that's when you fail. So you have to continue. Even you have this feeling, it's normal. And one thing that helped me, and hopefully who is listening, is actually the community. So every time I was overwhelmed, I just go to the community page, and then I see people that go through what I'm going through. That feels somehow like, okay, I'm not alone there. There's people who are struggling like me. So yeah, consistency, and don't stop, don't get scared, or don't get overwhelmed and stop. You have to continue even though you're not feeling the best. So I'd say these are my advices.
Right, right. Okay, so that was the regional Queensland one. The second property that you bought was for 553,000. The valuation was over 600,000. This is in WA. Rent was 670. This was also off market, and this
Mm.
had subdivision potential, which the agent that was selling you, they didn't even know this. Had they known, perhaps it would have gone for much more. Huge block size, 1,265 square meters. Was this off-market deal easier than the first one because you'd done it once, or is it because it was a different market, different dynamic, you also experienced the same challenges?
Actually, this one is a little bit a different story, and I'm actually more proud of this story because it really paid off with consistency. So what happened is I found this on market property in WA that I really liked. It fits my criteria. So I just called the agent and I told him I like this property, and I made the offer. And he called me and he told me, okay, your offer is actually very like one of the highest, so you have a chance to get it. And then he said, I'll call you back in 2 hours. And then in 2 hours, he called me and he said, unfortunately, someone else got it. And the reason is because that other person paid cash. So obviously the seller preferred that person than me. So because of that, I uh, I was still very like I needed that property, or I still felt that property was good. So what I did is after 1 week, I called the same sales agent. I told him Um, like I really like that property, and I just want to know if something changes. Please let me know. I'm ready. My money is ready. My documents are ready, and that's all I did. And then I think that conversation registered in that sales agent's mind. And 2 weeks later, he called me and he told me, look, that property is already settled, but I've got for you another off market property that even better, which is true. He gave it to me and I saw it and it fits all my criteria and it's very like large block as you can see, and it just much better yield, and yeah, it was a good one. And the good thing about it, PK, is I had no competition. He only called me and he told me, if you want it, you have to make an offer now. And that's what I did. I made the offer. Essentially, the seller had no one else, so he was happy with my offer, and it got accepted. And yeah, that was my property, my second one.
Right, right, right. I mean, the number of times I've heard that, I've lost count. There's so much to be said about just picking up the phone and calling the sales agent, because even if you, like you did, you miss out on the property, now they know you. And if you just call them back, just kind of keep that touch point. Now they really know you because they know that you were dead keen on that property, you missed out on it, and then they'll send you more and more off-market deals. And yeah, I think clients have bought more than 3,000 properties now, and I think literally hundreds have been in this sort of circumstance. And it's an easy thing to do, but I just still think people don't pick up that phone, don't make the phone call because they're too scared, they're too shy, they don't know how to do it, they don't know if it's the right suburb, they don't know if it's the right property. But you had crystal clarity, it seems like, on the suburb, on the property, because you are educated, you know how to negotiate, you knew how to make those phone calls, the scripts and everything like that. And I think everyone knows these days, because there's so much free education out there, that it's land that appreciates and buildings that depreciate. And this is, over 1,200 square meters. I mean, we all know what Perth and WA is doing. In 5 years, 10 years' time, this is going to far outperform so many other properties, even in the same suburb, that are on a smaller land quotient with lower land to asset ratio. And this point you were sharing to me earlier around, this was subdividable, but the agent didn't know that. Could you elaborate that for me a little bit?
Yeah. So when the agent talked to me the first time, he told me, look, I told because he told me this land is 1,200, and in my mind, it's definitely subdividable. It's huge. But then he told me, but it's not subdividable, and I said, okay. What I did is I did my due diligence as usual, and I tried to reach out to the council, and then I had to go to the planner in the council, and then I made an appointment with them. And when I talked to that person, it's true, in the maps of the council, that property or that pocket is not subdividable. They are big zones, but um, he told me they've done a new reassessment for that pocket, and they've decided to rezone it, and therefore the whole pocket is subdividable, so including my property. So I was just over the moon when I heard that, because it paid off immediately my knowledge. And yeah, so now today is subdividable. So
That's
I'm
phenomenal.
great.
That's
I'm
phenomenal.
grateful for that.
And I think if it had gone on market, perhaps other buyers would have also realized, they would do their due diligence like you did. They would realize that it was subdividable, and therefore I think the property might have even gone for 630, 640, 650, because it's got that, medium long-term potential upside, but you got it for 553, which is, yeah, I mean, it's nice to make 10% on the way in, right? You can
Oh,
definitely
yeah,
take
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, no,
Um,
absolutely. I was very happy about it.
Right, right. And so you've got these two properties. You're not slowing down. Of course, you have a growing family, which is also very important. But what's your sort of short-term, medium-term plans from your property portfolio perspective?
Yeah. I'm hoping to get another one property this year. I've got all my papers ready. I've got my pre-approvals, and I'm gonna get one this year, and also I'd like to get one for my father, which is also this year. So now that I have the knowledge, I have the experience, I told him, "You don't need to worry about it. I'll do everything for you," and he just trusts me, and yeah, we're going with that. So that's my short-term
Amazing.
goals.
Amazing. And maybe the last question that I'll ask, I don't know if it's too personal. Did you buy these properties like in your own name or in like a trust structure or something else? And could you share the rationale of why you chose what you chose?
Yeah, the first property I bought it under my name, and then the second one I still had some borrowing capacity or borrowing power. Um, but I did educate myself into the trust. I wanted to understand it more, and it felt a better way for me for my strategy, because I want to keep growing my portfolio. So I did the second one in a trust.
Got it. Got it. And so you feel that buying in the trust for your situation, it will better preserve your borrowing capacity for the
Yeah,
next one as well.
absolutely. The reason is because now, like I said, now when I'm going for the third one, I already have all my papers ready, because basically I preserved my borrowing power when I bought it in a trust, because all I need to do is show them it's a self-sufficient, and make my accountant help me with that trust, and then it's like basically the banks will ignore it, and then I can just keep buying properties. So definitely fits my strategy.
Right, right. And just a follow-up question to that, has it been pretty easy to work that strategy with your broker or with your accountant? Like, is it do they get that? Has it been straightforward, or have you had to really massage things, or not massage things? Have you really had to find the right person to work with in order to implement this strategy?
Actually, that's a very good question, PK. I think one of the main challenges that I had uh, for this like journey, the real estate journey, was the start with the broker. Like I couldn't find. I don't know if their job is really hard, or I just couldn't find the right one that fits me. Because yeah, it took me a lot of calls just to find the right one who understands my situation
Mhm.
and gives me advice, customized advice, like for me, not the generic advice. Because I'm gonna spend a lot of money on this, so I need the right advice from someone as experts. So yeah, I did get challenged in this particular, and when I was talking to accountants, they give me a general advice, but it wasn't really what I was looking for. Then I go to brokers, the same thing, because it's the trust thing is between the accountant and the broker.
Yeah.
It like I'm still a little bit confused about it, but like I understood what I needed at the end. But yeah, both accountant and broker gave me the advice, and then I had to do like a combination between them and see what fits me.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, you're the captain of the team, and it's very important to that you're the glue between everyone. And of course, it's confusing to understand exactly how they do everything that they do, but we don't need to know exactly, right? We just need to know enough to be asked the right questions, make sure they're giving us the right service, which is personalized and customized, and then understand, whether the risk is something that we're able to handle in terms of our risk appetite and what the return will be. So it's great to see you go from knowing not much, to being like really top shelf, sophisticated investor in a sense. And I already said a last question, but I'll just do one last one for the audience. You already talked about mindset. From a practical perspective, what's one gold nugget that you can share where people can just put it in their pocket and be like, okay, I'll be able to get great properties as well?
Um,
One strategic or one tactical gold nugget, whether it's about suburb selection or property selection or getting off market or getting a property manager, anything at all, which really helped you.
I think building the team, like if you got your team from the start, you know who you're gonna reach out to. That really helps, because every time you feel overwhelmed, you can somehow express your fear or concern to you, one of your team, and then you can get answers, and then that makes you continue. You don't stop there, because if you're doing it by yourself, if you're just doing all the theory in your mind, you're not going to go anywhere. So from the start, build your team and keep going. Every time you get obstacles, get the question answered and keep going.
Right, right. That's great advice. Yeah, we can't know everything, and it's very important. I'll probably miss some people out. Mortgage broker, accountant, conveyancer, building and pest inspector, quantity surveyor. I'm probably missing some people in that process as well. But it's very important to have the whole suite, because they know more than us in their respective domains, but we need to know enough to be able to manage them. And exactly what you said. Well, I'm very happy for you, Asim, and really proud as well. And no doubt that these properties will serve you, as your family expands and grows, and of course your property portfolio will grow as well. So thank you so much for putting trust in me, and I really appreciate your time today, even though you're in Japan right now and the internet connection's perhaps not ideal, but I really appreciate it nonetheless.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it.
And thank you everyone for watching and listening, and thank you once again for investing your time in this platform, in this channel, and in yourself. There's more than 150 client interviews like I've done, which are in the client results playlist on YouTube. Like I always say, I honestly don't mind if you do the course or not, but please go and listen to these, more than 150 client interviews, because people like Asim will serve to educate you and also inspire you. And that way you'll actually take action and actually get results. You can't get results without taking action. And so that's really the purpose we did this session. Thank you for being with me. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share this with someone you think will also benefit. Thank you again, and thank you again, Asim.